Welcome back to Tales from the Black Tower, a solo D&D game currently following Tobias Vandermill, Human Wizard. My name is Body, and I'll be your player dungeon master for today. When last we left our adventurer, he and... what's his name? Oh man. Morning's Breath had just got done getting ambushed by a dire wolf in the woods, and during the fight, Tobias was in a tree, but the leaping direwolf, even though Tobias was like 15 feet up in the air, caught his leg and dragged him down to the ground. But with some high-level spell usage, basically, Tobias and Morning's Breath were able to get away from the direwolf or kill the direwolf actually, and make it off into the wilderness. So the next scene that I'm thinking of setting up for the fate chart, or the Mythic generator, is one of the two threads relating to the map that Morning had access to previously. Either there were 3 sites that he had indicated might be of interest to Tobias relating to his desire to build a bridge across the river. The first was the place where the gnolls had ambushed the site, and then the direwolves came out. So that, as far as we know, that place is overrun and basically not a viable, not of use to anyone. All the humanoids are dead there. But we've got these additional sites, some sort of treasure that might be guarded by someone, and then a cave with strange inscriptions at the mouth. But before we do that, we did decide that chaos went up from the last session, since there was some crazy stuff that went on. The question that I have, though, were there any direwolves in the way, or that were not in the way, but that were following after when the direwolf howled as he was fighting Tobias and Morning's Breath? I think it's quite unlikely, very unlikely, so we're going to say 25%. 94. So yeah, not only a no, but a hell no. There's no direwolves. That was the only one that was following them. Even though he caught up to them relatively quickly, they was only like a mile or 2 off. No, either the other wolves didn't hear, or they weren't able to find the tracks of Morning's Breath once they caught up. So now, I think we're gonna need probably 2 rolls on the 60-12 in order to get to the next place, and we haven't decided which one of those it is yet, which one's closer. Actually, let's decide that right now. So we've got the treasure site that might be guarded by someone, and then a cave with strange inscriptions at the mouth. So we're gonna go evens is the treasure site, odds is the cave. Even. So it is the treasure site. We don't know if it's... We know it... Or there's a question mark. We don't know if it's guarded by someone. It seems like it would be. But that's all we know about the treasure site so far. But in order to get there, we need to do some traveling through the wilderness. And for that, we use the 6d12 system. This is from the Solar Adventurer's Guide Part 2. It's a way to have multiple things happen in any... Like, you can use it for individual rooms in a dungeon, or you can use it for wilderness. But, let's see. I don't really have a good way of doing the 6d12 in owlbear.rodeo, so I just do it here, and you're just going to have to trust me. I've got... And it's really the higher the number is, the more likely there's something going on. This is just special wilderness. I only have like a 12 in the blue, so there's a clue. There's some sort of clue. And then 9 in the yellow. So we find some sort of mundane item. And 9 in yellow, I already said that. Those are the only high. I've got a 7 in the model, but I need 11 and 12 for that. So we're gonna say, as part of So I think this is going to be a clue related to the place we're going to, which is the treasure site. And the question is, what sort of mundane item is it going to be? I think it's probably not going to be a weapon. It's not going to be a weapon or adventuring gear. No, we're going to roll on the adventuring gear table. So we're just going to do a D100 and just sort of go off of the player's handbook. 7, so basically, I don't know that there are 100 things on this list, but basically 7th from the top. Okay. So there's a vial of antitoxin that we found along the way, and that then the question is, why is it that this is a clue for the place we're going? Actually, it's just a vial of some strange liquid. We don't know if it's antitoxin. Vial of strange colored liquid. So now we're relying on the fate chart in order to sort of ask questions about this. Why is this a clue for the place we're going? Is this maybe the place? I think yeah. There's some sort of inscription on the site because this is somewhere that Morning's Breath has been before, and is somewhat familiar with. So he recognizes the symbol on the vial. And is it indicative? Is it reminding him of something that is like, this is a place where an alchemist lives? I think that's 50-50. I think that's possible. So 50-50. Is it an alchemist spot? Alchemist's lair? That might be so no, it's not, because we wanted a 50. We need to go less than a 50 in order to. So it's not an alchemist. What other kind of person would have some sort of vial? Ooh, I'm okay. I think it's gonna be some sort. Is it a witch? Maybe not an alchemist. An alchemist, I think, to me, implies a wizard chemist type person. And actually, I think I did this wrong. I think the better way to do this is to use the random event generator instead of just asking yes or no questions, unless you have a really good idea. So I'm going to do that with the event action subject. So it's a 14, which is going to be an abandon. That's one of the strange things about this solo stuff and generating things on the fly, is that it's hard. It's not always really clear what the best strategy is. Good. Abandon good. So it's a place where you have vials of strange liquid, and the prompt is abandon good. I think it's some sort of witch's hut, and for some reason, I think it's guarded. It's some sort of witch's hut. And yeah, and this is something that Morning's Breath is remembering now that he's seen this vial of strange liquid. And he only knows that there was some treasure reported here, and the only thing he's seen before is that it's guarded by someone. So I think maybe the theory that Tobias and Morning's Breath are going off of is that there's something buried in the yard outside of this witch's hut. I think, okay, and that's not our scene, but that's something they discovered on the way there. Like the vial jogged a memory in Morning's Breath's head, and so now we are we're still about a days away when they found the previous place. So I think we want another roll on the 60-12. I've got a 3 on the mottled, a 3 on the clear, 11 on the black. Okay, so that, yeah, it's a standard wilderness. That should be some sort of monster encounter. I don't think I've generated a monster encounter straight from on stream before, but that's interesting. Okay, cool. We got a 9 on the blue, so that's nothing. There's no clue there. 4 on the yellow and 9 on the white. So we've got a feature. monster and a feature. And I think we want to do the feature first, so that that can maybe help us inform what kind of monster it is. And this is Solo Adventures Toolbox. Oh man, number 1. Okay, I'm having trouble. There we go. There should be, they've got tables for features in different like swamp lands and whatnot, but we don't want minor features, we want major features. Is it? This is high quality content. Oasis, Rocky Outdoor, Lake. Here we go. That's the dungeon. Shit. Random Wilderness. Oh, it's just going to be a clearing, and we've got a D100 here. Sorry about that. Let's see. We've got a 30, which is going to be, it's just a natural clearing. And yeah, so this is just basic forest stuff. And we are going to figure out what sort of monster is here. So the first thing we do, we've got 2 PCs, and we roll a d6 to figure out what the difficulty of the encounter is. And so that's going to be a 4, which is going to be a hard encounter. Just making some notes right along the way. We want a hard encounter, but we're 2 PCs and we're level 2, so that translates to a 1 PC level 6 easy. Alright, and we're going to go to that table here. Level 6 solo PC easy. So, and then we roll a d6 on this. And that's a 4. So that means we get 1 CR 1/2 monster and 1 CR 1/4. And now we're in the woods. The forest, I should say. So we've got a CR 1/2, CR 1/4, and we're going to be rolling once on 2 different D100s. We got a 48, so that's a Goblin. Ooh, okay. And then what I'm hoping is that the CR 1/2 like works with the Goblin in some way. Thematically, 37. Oh wait, we only wanted a D20. 37, what, that's a... Each 5. That's like an 8. We'll say that's an 8. So that's a Hobgoblin. So yeah, that says to me that we've got a Goblin and a Hobgoblin on patrol in this clearing. Tobias and Morning's Breath enter this clearing, and there's... Okay, the question is, are the Goblin and Hobgoblin just chilling and like camping, right? Let's say that. Let's ask that question. I think it's 50-50. We don't know. Looking at the fate chart, 16. So yes, they are definitely they're just waiting there. I think they're not really being particularly stealthy because Tobias just isn't stealthy in general. And I don't think, and this is the next day already, so they're already... Actually, hold on, I need to figure that out. Because Tobias needs to use 2 hit dice in order to get his health back. He gains 7 health. So he's back at 13. plus 8. And then Morning's Breath is 2d8. So he gets 7 back, and he's at 16. Okay. So we're looking up a Goblin and a Hobgoblin. Okay. Okay, so the question then becomes, how far away to move this? So we're going to use one of the systems from the previous thing and see if they're basically going to be D10 squares away. D10 feet. D10 tens of feet. So they're 10 feet. Holy shit. So they basically, Tobias and, oh man. Tobias and Morning's Breath come up to this clearing, and we're going to say what happens is they're walking side by side, coming up a slight hill. There's like some, there we go. There's some stones on one wall or another, and they come around this corner, and then all of a sudden they see a Hobgoblin and a Goblin. If I can find a good... There's a Goblinoid, and then we're going to say that this other guy... The Hobgoblin is the blue one. And they are 10 feet away. They're right on top of them. The question then is, well, the Hobgoblin and the Goblin were just chilling. We decided that earlier. I wish I knew how to do these things. So this seems to me like, I think they're just chilling, so they're not moving, they're not doing anything in particular, but the question is, are they, maybe it's some sort of toll, are they ambushing something? I think that's, they're not just randomly sitting there. So let's roll. I think that's somewhat likely. I think that's, yeah. So 65, 46, so yeah. Let's see, the Hobgoblin's no common, and Goblin's also no common. So Tobias and Morning's Breath sort of turn a corner, are walking up, and all of a sudden in front of them, they just didn't see them apparently. There's a Goblin and a Hobgoblin standing there. The Hobgoblin is taller. He's a medium humanoid. The Goblin is a small humanoid. So that there's this like little guy who's not even really wearing too much armor. He's got some light leather armor, and the Hobgoblin is much larger, is wearing chainmail, and has a long sword and longbow. So that says to me that they are... yeah, we already determined that it's like some sort of ambush there. And so I think the Hobgoblin speaks to them and says, "Hey, you pay toll. You pay 10 gold. Or you pay with life." Something along those lines, right? And really sort of surprised by this, Tobias and Morning's Breath are like, sit back and like, they're both lawful good. And I think this is something that they're not really... On the one hand, they don't really like want to be extorted. They probably don't like that idea. But if it's just 10 gold, it's just 10 gold. So, yeah, I think Tobias is gonna want to do some sort of insight. So he's got, that's a 8 plus 4 is gonna be a 12. Is there anything suspicious? I think that's, does Tobias detect anything suspicious about their, I think it's unlikely that he does because it's a 12. He didn't roll too well, so it's unlikely, so 35% chance. 63. So no, he doesn't. Tobias doesn't detect anything suspicious about the request. They seem to be like upfront about it. But these are evil guys. They're not. It's like it's one of those things where yeah, I think Tobias is like they're like we're flush with cash. Like there's two of us, two of them, two of us. Even if even if they're able to get out of the fight without having any significant damage, I think it's one of those things where like, yeah, just give him the fucking money. So Tobias steps up and is just like, I think he's gonna ask like, is that your? It's like, is he gonna haggle? I don't think he's gonna haggle. He's just gonna be like, if that's your price, fine. Because he'd rather not kill them. Also, we'll say he's gonna step back. So I think Tobias pays them, and are they is he pays the goblin for some reason, and I'm gonna say that the goblin and the hobgoblin are just sort of surprised, and Tobias just keeps walking, and eventually, Morning's Breath, sort of, who was hanging behind, anticipating some sort of fight, passes by as well. The question, I think, is, do the goblin and the hobgoblin, I've got my tracker here, do the goblin and the hobgoblin, like, smell blood, smell weakness, something like that? And I think that's likely. They are evil. They're like, wait, this guy's got enough money that he doesn't even care about giving up 10 gold? Like, what if we kill them and take whatever it is that they all have? So I think about a round has passed, that they're just sort of like flabbergasted. Let's see. And the question is, do they turn around and be like, wait, or just like shoot him with something, right? I think it's likely, and that, according to the fate chart, is 75% chance. No, they don't. All right. All right. So I guess I don't know. I don't know what thoughts are going through their head exactly, but they're just like they're pretty surprised, and they let Tobias and Morning's Breath pass. Morning's Breath eventually catches up, and that's it. Apparently, they should have asked for more money. But I've marked off the 10 gold, and I do think that is something that we can add to the threads here that's interesting. It's like Goblin holes near river. Goblinoid. Let's do Goblinoid, because it's not just goblins. Alright, well. So that's like, even though it didn't come out as some sort of combat, these sorts of things, like, because you shouldn't just assume that, as soon as anyone sees anyone, they're like, oh, we're gonna fight. I like these kind of things because even though there wasn't combat, it's not like, oh, there was fighting and they killed the goblins and got some treasure. It's still something where you learn something about the world, where you learned, oh, apparently there's these goblinoids that have tolls, and now we know, sort of, that, maybe the goblins learned something from this, and like, well, we can ask for more money. Maybe next time they ask for 100 gold, in which case, I think Tobias would be much less likely to pay. Right? So yeah, those were our 2 wilderness rolls, and I think at the start of the next turn we'll figure out, or the next session we'll try to figure out the scene with the treasure site, which we have sort of an idea of what might be there with the witch's hut and the strange liquid. But next scene, as far as the planning for the mythic generator part scene system, is the approaching the treasure site, the witch's hut. Alright, so until next time, have a good one.